Welcome to Iron Will. This channel exists for one reason, to teach you how to stand back up when the world tries to knock you down. We don't sell quick fixes or feel-good slogans. We teach discipline, repair, and relentless return. The quiet work done in the small hours. If you're ready to stop avoiding discomfort and start using pain as a map, then this is where you begin. Let's go. Grind through the pain. Pain is feedback. Use it as a map. There's a voice inside you that will try to negotiate when things get ugly. It will bargain for comfort, for the safe road, for the lowest possible cost. It will sound reasonable. It will say things like, rest, later, tomorrow. That voice is not your enemy. It's a survival mechanism, but it's not the captain either. If you want to move from ordinary to relentless, you must learn to read pain like a compass. Pain is not a verdict. It is a message. It points to edges. It highlights weak spots. It shows where you must build. If you ignore it, it becomes a trap. If you study it, it becomes your teacher. I want to tell you 3 short stories, not to glorify suffering, but to show what it looks like when people use pain as a map, not a prison. First, imagine a man named Alex. He'd been training for a marathon for months. Halfway through his training cycle, he felt a deep ache behind his knee. The ache was not dramatic. It was the kind of whisper you can ignore. Most people do. Alex did the responsible thing. He slowed down and tried to push through. 2 weeks later, the pain was louder, angrier, a real injury. He lost weeks. He lost momentum. He blamed schedules, the weather, bad shoes. He got frustrated. Then he changed his approach. He learned to treat the ache like a GPS signal. He saw the pain as data, not weakness. He went to a physiotherapist, changed his stride mechanics, added mobility drills, and refocused his training on strength rather than only miles. The injury didn't disappear overnight. It demanded humility, patience, boring rehab. But because Alex listened early, he rebuilt stronger. The next season he ran pain-free and faster. The lesson, grind through the pain, means you don't ignore it. You interrogate it, calibrate, and rebuild around it. Second, meet Leela. She was a junior designer at a startup. She poured everything into her work and stayed late to produce great pieces. One quarter she proposed an idea she believed in, bold, risky, and the company said no. It crushed her for weeks. The pain was emotional and sharp. She could have softened her ambition, played small, or left. Instead, she used the rejection as a map. She asked for feedback. She dissected the refusal into specific reasons people didn't buy in. She tested faster, built low-cost prototypes, and presented data instead of charm. 2 product cycles later, her idea was adopted with enthusiasm. Rejection had revealed the gaps in her pitch, her assumptions, and her evidence. Pain had shown where to train. Third, a composite story. An ex-addict I'll call Jonah. He had a history of escaping pain through substances. Every emotional storm sent him running to a bottle. But at some point a pattern emerged. He realized the pain he wanted to avoid wasn't the problem. The avoidance was. He learned a painful truth. The coping strategy was making the pain into a recurring monster. So he mapped it. He learned his triggers, built micro-habits to interrupt cravings, and replaced the anesthetizing habit with apprenticeships, carpentry, then volunteering, then training others. The new practices didn't remove the pain. They changed his relationship to it. The pain became something he could sit with, examine, and act on. He didn't grind through pain by brute force. He trained a new nervous system. Those 3 stories point to a pattern. People who grind through the pain don't idolize suffering. They do these 4 things consistently. Listen. Pain is data. Interpret. Ask. What is this pain telling me? Respond. Build the small tactical practice that addresses the cause. Return. Keep coming back, even when the map suggests slow progress. Let's unpack those steps. Practical, usable steps you can apply tomorrow. First, listen. This is harder than it sounds because we are culturally primed to ignore discomfort. We plaster over it with distractions. Listening begins by naming. When your chest tightens, name it. When your knee twinges, name it. When a client says no, name the sting. Name the temperature of the pain. Is it physical, emotional, social, financial? Naming stops the chaos. It converts raw sensation into information. Second, interpret. Don't jam the pain into a moral narrative. I am a failure, and then act from shame. Instead, treat the pain like a clue. Ask clear questions. Where does it show up? When does it spike? What changed before it began? For physical pain, check mechanics and recovery. For creative pain, rejection, analyze process, presentation, and assumptions. This is where the grind becomes intelligent. Pain alone is noisy. Interpretation makes it useful. Third, respond. Build micro-strategies. These are not heroic gestures, they're precise repairs. If you have a shoulder that nags, respond with mobility protocols and scaled loads instead of ignoring it until it breaks. If your creative work gets rejected, respond with data-driven prototypes, not defensive rants. Micro-strategies are specific, repeatable, and measurable. They let you test whether your interpretation was right. Fourth, return. The biggest filter on talent is the ability to come back. The first time you try to fix something, it usually gets worse. Expect setbacks. The grind is a long game. Return without drama. Make the next session easier to start. Reduce friction. Keep a tiny, unshameful baseline that guarantees you'll show up. Here are 3 operational templates you can use right now, depending on your situation. If it's physical pain, the micro-rehab loop. Day 1. Stop the aggravating activity for 48 hours. Day 2 to 7. Do 2 mobility drills for 3 minutes each, twice a day. Log pain on a 1 to 10 scale. Week 2 to 4. Add 1 strength exercise that targets supporting musculature, light load, high control. Reassess. Week 5 plus. Integrate the original activity, reduced volume, with continued mobility and strength work. If it's career pain, the prototype response. Step 1. Extract the data from the rejection. What exactly did they say? What did they not say? Step 2. Build a cheaper, faster prototype addressing the core objection. Get a microsample of users to react. Step 3. Iterate twice, then present the new version with evidence, not argument. If it's emotional or relational pain, the recovery micro-habit. Start with a 2-minute pause when triggered. Breathe 4 to 6. Journal 1 line about what you felt and 1 small action to address it. Execute that action within 2 hours. Examples: make a clarifying call, schedule a difficult conversation, or commit to a small act of service. There's an ugly truth. Sometimes the pain demands trade-offs. You might need to accept less Instagram time, less weekend comfort, or less immediate pleasure to rebuild. That's not noble self-punishment. It's practical allocation. Think of it like a budget. If you want to repair your back, you might budget time for mobility and sleep. If you want to scale your business, you might budget early morning hours for strategic work. Trade-offs feel like loss at first, but over months they compound into capacity. Now let us address a common trap: brute force. The idea that you can grind through pain by sheer will alone. That rarely works. Willpower is finite. Brute force is what burns people out. Instead, refine the grind. Work smarter and harder. Make changes that reduce stress on the weak link. Use rest as a tool, not a reward. Rehab smarter, not just longer. Here is a tactical anecdote. A coach I know worked with a fighter who kept getting cut in the same spot. He could have said, train through it. Instead, the coach mapped it. Stance, feints, guard, posture. They added a small mechanical tweak and a 1-minute drill to his daily routine for 3 months. The cut stopped. The fighter didn't become softer. He became more precise. The grind changed direction. Another essential skill is friction design. Make the new habits easier to start. If you must ice your knee, keep the ice pack visible, already in the freezer. If you want to write every morning, keep a notebook by the bed and a 1-sentence prompt already there. Reduce the cost of starting so your future, tired self can still take the first step. And now, because you asked for a map, not a sermon, here is a simple 30-day protocol I call Map and Grind. It's minimal, testable, and built for return. Day 0. Map. Write down the pain, where, when, intensity, probable triggers. Keep it to 1 page. Days 1 to 7. Probe. Do only diagnostic actions. Mobility for physical pain. Micro-prototypes for career pain. Pause and journal for emotional pain. Track outcomes daily. Days 8 to 21. Build. Implement 1 micro-strategy, informed by your probe results. Do it every day. Log results. Days 22 to 30. Scale. If the strategy reduced pain by 20% or more, add another supporting habit. If not, return to probing and adjust. The key in Map and Grind is measurement and iteration. Pain becomes less terrifying when you can observe it changing under your interventions. Finally, a word about identity. People who grind through pain change who they think they are. The first few days of an uncomfortable habit feel foreign, but identity is not fixed. It is a narrative you feed. Start each morning with a sentence. I am the kind of person who fixes what breaks. That sentence is small. It's not a prayer, it's a reminder. Repeat it. Let it guide tiny choices. You will face setbacks. You will have dark weeks. When that happens, remember to separate the moral story from the practical story. Morally, you are not failing because you have pain. Practically, you are collecting data. Use that data, re-enter the map, adjust. Here is your challenge, simple and immediate. For the next 30 mornings, pick one pain you've been ignoring, literal or figurative. Map it, do one tiny probe every day for a week, and log the effect. After 7 days, choose one micro-strategy and follow it for 2 weeks. No grand vows, no dramatic reinventions, just 2 months of intelligent, patient work. If at the end of 60 days your life hasn't shifted, then we'll be painfully honest and choose a new strategy. But if you do this with fidelity, you will see change. The change will be quiet at first. Then, suddenly, the map flips. Pain becomes less of a tyrant and more of an ally. Pain is not your enemy. It is a compass. It points to the work you must do. Grind through it, not like a martyr, but like an engineer, diagnosing, testing, iterating, and returning. In the small hours, when there's nobody to applaud, choose to learn instead of escape. Show up to the map, read it, build from it. You will bend, you will tremble, but you will not break. Start now. Map one pain. Take one tiny step. Return tomorrow. You are not alone. You are in training. Become relentless. Grind through the pain, and let that pain teach you where to build.